to call the Senate Public Health and Welfare Committee to order. I appreciate everybody showing up on this Friday morning. We were scheduled to go to 10:30. I highly doubt we'll go that far. We only have 3 bills currently that we are all ready to go on, have everything ready, amendments and everything. And the language to the reviser on. So those 3 bills, in case you're in the audience wanting to know if you're going to need to stick around, it's Senate Bill 168, Senate Bill 276, and Senate Bill 387 will be the bills that we'll be working on. And Jenna, is there any particular order that works best for you on what we work? Okay. Okay, yes, the 3 bills that we have ready to work are Senate Bill 168, Senate Bill 276, and Senate Bill 387. And what I would like to do is go ahead and we'll work backwards. We'll start with Senate Bill 387. Jenna, could you give us a brief overview of refresher on 387, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I'm Jenna Moyer, Office of Revisor Statutes. Senate Bill 387 is concerning the Behavioral Sciences Regulatory Board, and it would allow for postgraduate supervised experience to count towards those clinical supervision hours. It would allow current masters in clinical level practitioners to take the test to become addiction counselors, and it would add in continuing education related to diversity, equity, and inclusion for psychologists.
Committee, what is the pleasure of the...
I have an amendment, I believe.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Thompson, we'll wait till the amendment's handed out. And once everybody has an opportunity to review it, do you want to explain it or have it...
I can explain it. I can explain it.
Has everyone had an opportunity to receive their amendment? Senator Thompson, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Basically, all this does is strike the requirement for psychologists to have continuing education relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and strike Section 3, which places those requirements upon them. As we discussed in committee before, I don't feel like this is an appropriate path, and we shouldn't give credit for that sort of thing. I think they should stick to their lane, and diversity, equity, and inclusion I don't believe is helpful at all in this situation, and we can go into it as deep as we want, but that's the basis of the amendment.
Do we have a motion on that amendment?
I move my amendment, Mr. Chair.
I have a second by Senator Erickson. Any discussion on this amendment before we take it to a vote? Senator Gossage.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a quick question for the carry of the amendment. Why we didn't just strike C and number 2 regarding the DEI and struck that entire Section 3. I'm sorry. Yes, Jenna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because that is the only change in that section of that section of law, it doesn't make sense to have a section with no changes in it, and so we just strike the whole section from the bill. So there's no other amendments made to that statute.
There, it would still it's part of the current law anyway. The other portions.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Part of the bill.
Thank you very much.
Any further discussion on this amendment motion before we take it to a vote? Not seeing any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. My motion carries. We are back on the bill. What's the will of the
Mr. Chair,
Senator Thompson,
I move to pass Senate Bill 387 out favorably for passage.
as amended.
As amended. Thank you, sir.
We have a motion by Senator Thompson, a second by Senator Gossage to pass out Senate Bill 387 as amended favorably for passage. Any discussion on this motion before we take it to a vote? Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do just want to add quite briefly, sometimes when we're sitting in our meetings, we're not sure if anyone really is paying attention, if we're really making a significant difference. But I did receive an email later that day from, and I was trying to find it so that I could share it with you, but she oversees the counseling program at K-State University. And she wanted to make sure that we knew that, those issues of concern that we talked about. What about people whose family members are in the military? And what about farmers? And what about rural Kansans and so forth? And she wanted us to be assured that counselors get certified in those different areas, and they do earn CE credits specifically about those issues that we spoke to. And so all of those are available for the psychiatrists or the psychologists to work on as well. But she was quite proud of just how specific the program at K-State was to make sure that those graduates, and it is a master's level program, that those graduates go to our schools with that preparation, very specific to meet the needs. So I did want to share that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for sharing that. Senator Baumgartner, any other discussion on this motion before we take it to a vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. That motion is carried. Senate Bill 387 as amended is going to the floor. Committee, next we are going to turn our attention to Senate Bill 276. Jenna, can you give us just a brief overview of what Senate Bill 276 is?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jenna Moyer, Revisor Statutes Office. Senate Bill 276 would provide considerations related to family law, adoption, foster care, and guardianships, as well as child in need of care proceedings for parents who are blind, or parents or prospective parents, who are blind.
Committee, what is the desire? Your desire? Senator Stephan.
I would have an amendment for this.
Okay. Jenna, do you have an amendment?
She does, and conceptual is very simple. If you would,
let's
some latitude.
Let's hear what your conceptual is, and we'll see if we can give you some latitude on it.
I would propose to change the enactment to the Kansas Register rather than the statute book.
Okay. That is a conceptual amendment motion, and I think we can give some latitude on that. And that's your motion. Do we have a second? Second by Senator Thompson. Is there any discussion on this amendment before we take it to a vote? Okay, not seeing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is adopted. We are back on the bill. Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that there was an ask that we broaden it beyond just those individuals, Kansans, that might be blind or have vision impairment, that we would broaden that to other groups. I was just curious if anyone had worked an amendment on that. That was an ask of one of the individuals that testified.
Senator, I know that in their testimony they put that in there, but to my knowledge, they never reached out to anybody to get that amendment drafted. So, do we have any other comments on this, or what's your desire? Senator Stephan.
I would have a comment in regard to Senator Baumgartner's statement. I don't know that this has happened in the state of Kansas, but I know it has has happened in other states that vaccine status, COVID-19 vaccine status has been used to deny parental rights. So I think that's one area that would fall into that category that Senator Baumgardner was talking about.
Senator Gossage.
I support this bill, and I think it's maybe easier to keep it clean. There's so many other things that could be added, but I think those were the folks that came to us. And yes, somebody did mention, but I think in the lack of an amendment today, that we should go ahead and pass this out favorably.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
As amended. Okay. Second by Senator Erickson. We have a motion on the floor by Senator Gossage to pass out Senate Bill number 276 as amended favorably for passage. A second by Senator Erickson. Any discussion on this motion before we take it to a vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. This Senate Bill number 276 as amended is going to the floor. Next, we will turn our attention to Senate Bill 168. Jenna, can you give us a brief update on this bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jenna Moyer of Revisor of Statutes Office. Senate Bill 168 as it relates to the Board of Pharmacy, and there's a number of changes. Some are related to authorizing release of specific data, as well as there's members of the Program Advisory Committee, data security, and an additional fee for access for electronic medical records, pulling data from KTRAX.
And I do have an amendment. So part of this amendment is on page 3, where it has the patient species code and the date the prescription was sold. If you remember back to Alexandra's testimony, that was something that they had requested just because of veterinary issues. And actually, when there was some confusion over when the date started when the prescription was written, or when it was filled, or when it was sold. So this will clarify that. And then on the back page, if you remember, they said that they would not use the fees unless they exhausted their grants, and this just clarifies it and puts it in statute. So, and with that, I will move my amendment. I have a second by Senator Gossage. Any discussion on this motion before we take it to a vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. That motion is carried. We are now back on the bill. Senator Petty.
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment.
Wait for it to be handed out. Senator Petty, your amendment appears to be lengthy. Would you like to explain it?
Very long. This also was request by the presenter to add our practitioners. So I move my amendment.
I have a motion on the floor by Senator Petty to pass out or adopt this amendment. Do we have a second? Second by Senator Gossage. Any discussion on this motion before we take it to a vote?
Can I have a few minutes to just think about this, Senator, Mr. Chair?
You sure may, Senator Thompson. It's very lengthy and
Okay.
a lot to take in.
I'm okay. All right, I got it.
All right. Any further discussion on this motion? Not seeing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. That amendment is adopted. We are now back on the bill. Senator Petty.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we pass out Senate Bill 168 as amended, favorably for passage.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Senator Petty to pass out Senate Bill number 168 as amended, favorably for passage. Do we have a second? Senator Thompson seconds. Any discussion on this motion before we take it to a vote? Not seeing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, or no. All right, that motion is amended is adopted. Or that bill is going to the floor. I'm sorry. We were back on the bill. So Senate Bill 168 as amended is going to the floor. Committee, that does conclude all the bills that we have ready to work. I do want to give you a heads up. I think it was House Bill 2280 was returned back to our committee. There is a technical cleanup amendment that we need to get put on there. So that is what we're going to do. We do not have it. I'm not sure when the bill actually gets back to us, but plan on reworking that bill soon. So with that, we have nothing else. And I'm sorry I did not keep you till 10:30. Everybody have a safe travels back home. And don't forget, if you do have a sweetheart, that Monday is Valentine's Day. So thank you.